Space Coconut.
Okay, most often, you'll see content creators talk about the next killer or killers they'd like to see in the game. This is mainly because the killers are the most interesting and functionally diverse characters in the game. This is really obvious when you consider the excitement for seeing a killer's new Mori. But you never see much excitement about the survivors. So here I am, feeling your deep-seated desire to see new pretty faces in the fog. Don't worry, I'll make one of these for the dudes of the fog another time. So today, as excitement for the next chapter is about to begin, we're going to talk about the top 5 types of female survivors I'd like to see in Dead by Daylight. Before I get into this, be sure to sub to the channel if you're new here and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos in the future. It really helps the channel grow if you do, and it lets me know what content you like the most. These aren't in a particular order, they're just in the order that I thought of them as I wrote this, so here we go. The first is a futuristic lady. It's been established that the entity can grab people from any time and anywhere. The Plague and the Deathslinger are proof of that, coming from ancient Babylonia and the Old West. To that end, we've all been waiting for the entity to take a trip to the future and bring us both a futuristic threat and victim. In regards to the survivor, I'd really like to see a strong female military type. We already have plenty of edgy ladies with shortcuts and bright colors who are primed for the futuristic cyber look. We don't need another. So the ones we have can continue to be cosmetic canvases. Give Zarina a robotic arm, give Nia some neon LED highlights, and we're done. But we can give this new survivor a clean-cut look that's very different from the majority of the cast, and by giving her a military background, she gains a subtle strength that makes her a perfect survivor for the fog. If you really wanted to dive into the futuristic aspect of the character, she could even be an artificial intelligence being, opening up all kinds of cosmetic possibilities. The second is a Valkyrie. While they're supposed to be warriors and even without a weapon, a Valkyrie could probably beat the crap out of the killers, I still think having a Valkyrie in the fog would be pretty refreshing. A born warrior trapped for eternity fighting against the entity and whatever it throws at her sounds like a powerful character to me. It also would be a character that thrives or even seeks out the killers, opening up a set of perk possibilities designed to take the killer on directly. Hopefully those perks wouldn't be more health state perks like Medal of Man or Borrowed Time, because you survivors really don't need more of those. Considering their role in mythology though, a Valkyrie could easily be a killer. Number 3 is a Puritan, or like Amish type of girl. While I don't really think this character design would be a really good fit for Dead by Daylight, she's still different enough to warrant the mention. The Salem witch trials were a rough time in history, to put it lightly, but having a survivor who was literally saved from being burned at the stake sounds like a great backstory for a survivor trying to escape her fate. Maybe she begged to be saved and was brought to the fog instead. Or maybe in a fit of disgust with herself, she ran away after accusing a rival of some kind for being a witch herself. Maybe it just so happens that that same person she accused is the killer in the same chapter. Our fourth option is a Spartan Woman. While their history isn't clear, historians have put together what life was like for a Spartan woman, and the description of that person would make a wonderful survivor. They're described as strong women who were encouraged in Sparta to learn and train with men, which was unheard of around Greece at the time. Similar to the Valkyrie, a Spartan woman might prefer to fight rather than run. She might be more inclined to take on the challenges of the fog due to the life she had in Sparta. Considering we recently had all the Greek outfits, it might be a little redundant to create a new survivor with a similar look, since the Spartans were in fact Greek. But it would be cool to see such a strong, historically accurate representation of a woman in the fog. Number 5. Indigenous women to Canada. Now, this one might be a little too real, but I think it's an important consideration considering Behavior is a Canadian company. Behavior Studios touts itself as a diverse and inclusive company, and in Dead by Daylight they try their hardest to represent various groups of people. In Canada though, there is a large problem of discrimination against Indigenous people, and particularly women. There are many sad and tragic stories that rival those of America's own past and arguably present, of crimes and injustices towards Indigenous women of Canada. Since Behavior is a Canadian company, I think it would be a very strong statement if they included such a woman in their game. They can include women from all around the world. But if they don't include a woman from a marginalized group in their very own country, then their choices of characters simply amount to checking the diversity checkbox. It's really important that I point out that I don't particularly care for these types of arguments. I would much prefer to have politics out of games entirely. But if a company says that they stand for diversity, if a person says that they stand for diversity, I expect them to stand up for diversity most strongly in their own backyard and for everyone. As for what the survivor herself might be, historically, women in indigenous society were similar to that of the Spartans, with women being part of the leadership structure rather than being limited to supporting it. However, considering what the survivor might represent, it might be a better choice to have a survivor who is indigenous but has her own life in addition to her ancestry, much in the same way that Claudette exists in the game. And that's about it. I know it's not my normal type of video, but let me know what you think, and if we get a good response to this one, I'll make one for the dudes of the Fog next. If you have any types of women you want to see in the Fog, definitely drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you want another copy of a female survivor we already have in the game, and until next time, I'll see you in the Fog.